Hello, and welcome to the Wooden Ball Show. I'm your host, Dave Ball, also known as Blinson on Reddit and at Blinson1 on Twitter. And like always, I am joined by Blake, who is known as at @ShadMyKirk on Twitter and BTownBomb on Reddit. And joining us today, we have two special guests. On the Pucking Awesome podcast, which airs on Mondays at 9:30 Eastern, is Cassie, known as Abstract Halo on both Reddit and Twitter. And lastly, we have Carter, who is known as Oh No It's Rambo on Reddit and at Carter Raimondi on Twitter. So say hi, everybody.
Hello.
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 And on the Wooden Ball Show, throughout this entire off season, we will be featuring each two teams a night, and we will talk about how their past season went, what their off season holds, and what they're looking forward to about the upcoming season, if anything. But before we get into that, we're gonna do topic one, which is our NHL Quick Hits segment. So it's been announced that the Canes are going to have a new coach, Bill Peters. Does anybody have opinions on this at all?
Well, the Detroit Red Wings suffered from groin injuries this whole season, but now all of a sudden they're losing their Peters, shamelessly stolen from Winging It in Motown.
I've never heard of him, so I have no opinion on this.
No.
So I mean,
Yeah, I'm
he
not
was
really
an assistant
too
coach,
familiar.
I'm guessing. So
I mean, he's worked with the Detroit Red Wings for a while, so I mean, he could bring some skill over to Carolina, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to change that team too much.
yeah.
Usually whoever comes out of Detroit is good for whatever team they go to. So
That is
Oh yeah, it's the Babcock effect.
Yeah.
not only that, they have just a history of being very good with players, so and it probably rubs off on the people that leave the organization.
Well, and that too.
Yeah, so. And next, Ryan O'Reilly is basically fighting with the Avs. He entered what was it? Salary arbitration, team elected salary arbitration. So this is the only time in his career this could happen to him, I believe. And I think he has the ability to say no to whatever salary he's given. But it's basically going to be him saying he's amazing and the team saying he is the worst person ever.
Yeah.
So how do you think this is going to end up for them? Because it's only going to be a 1 or 2 year deal. So.
Well, it's
I
not going
can
to be
see.
good for either. Oh, sorry, you go first.
I can see why they did it. He's not exactly worth 6.5,
Yeah.
which is what the qualifying offer has to be, and this was their only option.
Yeah, he's definitely not worth that much money. And the only reason he got that much money was because he had a player elected arbitration last time he signed a contract.
Um,
I think he was under player arbitration.
I think.
I am looking this up now. Probably should have beforehand.
Well, and look at Colorado, how their season went, and some of the more well-known goal scorers and points getters on that team. You think of Landeskog, you think of Duchesne, you think of McKinnon, you think of Tyson Barrie or Paul Stastny, but if you ask me, Ryan O'Reilly is probably one of the more underrated players on that team.
And
Dave,
He's
if
good.
you were to,
There's no doubt, but the price tag for him is just too high for.
I was wrong. The reason he was getting that much money was because he signed an offer sheet from the Flames. 2-year offer sheet. That's why.
Yeah, because remember that whole fiasco.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously they matched it, but now they're feeling that he didn't live up to that contract, and he's
and
good.
also, Dave, if you were to look up Ryan O'Reilly's stats from this season,
That should be right at the bottom. 13-14, 28 goals, 36 for 64 points, and 2 penalty minutes. Plus 2 goals in the playoffs and 4 assists for 6 points in 7 games. So
he
it's
was
not bad.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad by any means.
38 goal scorer. So, personally. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a risky one because I mean at the time, I don't think he was worth what the Avs matched. But I mean, you kind of have to. You don't want to just lose him basically for nothing. So
I mean, you
worst
get like a
case
pick or
scenario,
two from offer sheets, but still
yeah.
not much.
So I don't know. I think the Avs did what they had to do and sign him. And I mean, he obviously played well this season, 64 points. So I don't know if that's something the Avs want next season to carry to have him or not. But I don't know. I think they'll keep him.
I mean, for their offer sheet, if they didn't match it, they would have got a first and a third round pick from the Flames. So not bad compensation, but still.
Yeah, but they're running into a thing where they also have to re-sign other people.
They're gonna have trouble when basically their young entry level contract people are running out, and they are gonna get big money.
Colorado?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because they have to sign O'Reilly and then Stastny this year for sure, and then I don't know about McGinn.
Okay.
They actually
but then you
signed
have-
McGinn.
Oh, did they?
They just signed him
Okay.
like
Okay.
within the last couple hours.
Oh, okay.
Really? Oh yeah. Yeah. James again. It happened a couple hours ago. Yeah. So.
And then obviously they're gonna have to sign McKinnon in, but that's not till 2016.
Of
And then-
Langeskog coming out.
Yeah. No, Landeskog was signed.
Landeskog signed until
Signed till-
2021.
Yeah, he signed till
Really?
21.
Oh, okay.
And
Ooh.
same as Duchesne signed till 2018-19. So I mean,
Okay, so
the
they're going
Avs
that
are
far.
in decent cap space. They have 43 million on their payroll right now, so they have quite a bit of room. So I think that's like also another big reason why they chose to like give O'Reilly that contract is because the worst thing that would happen is they just like let him stay on their roster or trade him.
But they also need to keep cap space to go out and get a defenseman.
I mean, they have 25,
Yeah.
almost 26 million in cap space right now, so they have a lot of room to use. But yeah.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot to work with. So I don't think they're in the worst of situations right now.
Mm. So. Okay.
But that can be eaten. But that can be eaten up quick if Stastny wants a big contract as well.
Yeah, that's also true.
And if they don't re-sign him, then Blake's gonna eat a hat. So
I am. Mhm.
I'm
I would
never
love
gonna
to
do
see
that, Blake. You know that, right? You made that promise, and you will
I
go through with
did.
it.
There's no backing out of it now.
We have video evidence of that.
Probably stick a hat in the microwave, cut it up in pieces, do that. So
Get it all on camera.
You don't want to eat it whole. You gotta eat it. You gotta
Yeah.
like make it nice.
I'm not gonna go all barbarian on it.
Yeah. Good call.
So the next thing that came out recently was the Sharks are going to be going into a rebuild. That's one surprising. They've been a good team for a long time now, so
Sharks, what are you doing? Sharks, stop.
they're choking so much they're going into a rebuild.
I like the Sharks roster. I really do. They have their key people signed for at least for another 3 seasons, and Thornton and Marlowe, and then Pavelski and Couture are signed for another 2 seasons after that. So
Yeah.
that's a big core. Those 4 players right there. That is a large part of their team. And the pieces, like even on defense and stuff, they have Brett Burns and Vlasic signed for at least 3 years for Burns and then 4 for Vlasic. I don't really see them going into a rebuild. They
They're
might
not-
need a little bit of help in goal if Niemi doesn't want to stay there after next season, but
Yeah.
I don't know. They have
They're not
Stolick.
losing
but-
too many people in the next couple of years. I mean, Havlat, but I'm not sure how much they care about Havlat.
Yeah,
And
but
no
the
one
thing
really
is, they
big.
are. Pardon?
No one really big they're losing within the next 2 seasons, but
Yeah, it's true. But the thing is, they might have to move some pieces because they are really close to the cap. Like,
yeah,
they are
they're
right there.
fine in space. So.
But I don't know.
Their core is, in their prime. They need to do it. They need to win now,
Yeah.
not just
Mhm.
not dick around rebuilding.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Every single one of their core players has some type of no movement clause or no trade clause. So they can't even just trade them away willy-nilly.
Yeah, so they want to be there, and I think they obviously have a chance next season.
Hmm. They always have a chance. It's just whether or not they will choke when they get that chance.
Yeah, and the Sharks are known for choking quite a bit, but
Yeah. So,
Hmm.
what's your
I felt
opinions
so
on them?
bad for
Like,
them
do you
this
think
year.
it's quiet?
I kind of think they're just, I guess, getting a head start on the inevitable because I know it, you know it, we all know it. Thornton and Marlowe and their aging core, they don't have a lot left in them, so
Yeah.
why
Yeah,
not just get a little bit of a head start on filling them in,
Yeah.
yeah. They've got to do it soon, or they're not going to do it at all.
Hmm. So, and I'm pretty sure if they don't do it soon, they do go into this rebuild. Jumbo Joe's going to want out. He's not going to want to see through a rebuild. So,
No.
especially with the type
As
of
will
person he
Marlowe.
is.
Marlowe won't
Yeah.
want to stick around either.
I doubt Coach would want to sit through a rebuild either.
Yeah, it's difficult because Couture's pretty young right now. He's only 25, so I mean he's at that age where he's going to be hitting his prime sooner than later, and you
Yeah.
don't want to be in your prime at the beginning of a rebuild, or you're just
Mhm.
wasting your time and your talent. So
And thing with him is though, people say that like between 24 and 26 are the biggest years of your prime. So they're basically already kind of wasting him with this like choking. So, but who knows? We'll see how it
yeah,
goes with him. I guess we'll get into the big thing that we're be doing for the off season. That is focusing on two different teams a night. The first team going in order of what draft picks, the first round draft picks. So up first is the Panthers, and Carter, you're a resident Panthers fan.
I am.
So, what do you think about the season you guys had this year, and how much did you cry during it?
know.
Um, I had many, many, many tears. Hold on, just give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Yeah, it wasn't the prettiest season this year. We definitely had a lot of issues up front with scoring and obviously in goal. It was just not at all how I think most fans thought it was going to go. I think we had some light going into the season. Getting Barkov.
Hmm.
That's everyone's saying that's the help at center that we needed. Obviously, it wasn't going to be like an outstanding help in the beginning, but um, through all the problems we had, our team just did not improve enough in the offseason to make much of a difference.
Yeah.
But I think some of those problems have cleared up or will clear up. We have fixed the goaltending issue for now,
Yeah.
but
You
we
have a
don't have
pretty good
a
goaltender now, so.
yeah, and someone that the residents of South Florida can actually like relate to and
Yeah.
that is well liked and that will help draw people to the stands. Obviously, it didn't help too much last season, but
Hmm.
I don't.
But by the
I
time you guys got him, it was kind of.
It was too late, and if I lived in South Florida, I would even have a hard time going to some of these games.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. And I forgot what I was gonna ask now. Wow. Um. Yeah, I guess we'll look into more of what the off season do you guys think holds for you. And one of the big things is you guys have new owners now, and how do you guys think they're gonna help the team?
Well, I think the Violas started off on a pretty good foot. They obviously were aware of the issues with the team.
Hmm.
They listened to the fans. They knew what the team was, and it wasn't a very good team. And for like someone outside of the Panthers organization, for the average fan, um, they obviously like look to address some of those issues. Club Red, for those of you that don't know, is the massive section of seating behind the benches where the camera faces. So if you ever seen Panthers games and it looks empty, well, most of the time it is empty, but it's a little bit over exaggerated on TV because the seating behind where the camera faces is ridiculously expensive, and it's like a special club, so no one sits there. So that hurts, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, the Violas, they've came in with good intentions, and they are giving us money to spend, which is also another big thing. Our previous owners for years have never given any amount of money to put in the organization, but the Violas thankfully are giving Dale Talon the AOK to spend what he needs to make our team successful, and I think that's a big thing.
Well, that's gonna help you guys a lot then.
Yeah,
You can hopefully
definitely.
attract bigger names now. 'Cause no, just a couple seasons ago, you guys were in the playoffs when you had Chris Versteeg on your team.
Yeah, my boy Versteeg. So, not very liked in South Florida so much
Really?
by most of the fans now, but
Why is that?
well, he just was lazy the last
Uh,
after we didn't make the playoffs. He was just lazy the 2 seasons after.
well,
Everyone
think about
wanted
the
him
teams he
gone.
kind of came from. On 2010, he won the cup. 2011, he went to our team where he got to the second round, and then he was traded to you guys where he got the playoffs again. He was
Yeah.
kind of spoiled by it, kind of, I think.
Yeah, and the talent level obviously that he was playing around on the other teams were a lot higher than in Florida, so I think he had to do a little bit less work than he thought he was going to be doing here.
Yeah. I mean,
But
he was on the Leafs for a little bit, so we don't know too much about the talent
yeah,
he played with. So
yeah,
that's who he was on before he came to the Flyers. So
he played I think 2 seasons or one. I'm not sure. He wasn't there for too long, but
he got traded to them after the 2010 Stanley Cup, after the Chicago won 2010. He got traded to them because they had their cap problems and all that.
yeah. So they had to
So
get rid of
either got
everyone.
traded or he won as a free agent. I'm not sure. Then halfway through the next season, he got traded to us
Was that how it went? Oh, right.
because we did not feel like dealing with Zherdev anymore. So we
Yeah.
Chris Versteeg.
Nikolai Sheridan, there's a name.
Now, what I would like to know regarding the new owners, I guess, do you know of any discussion regarding perhaps the current location of the team? If they like it in Sunrise, if they want to maybe go back to Miami, what's kind of the feeling about that?
Yeah, well, the owners, they can't really do too much about the location of the team, unfortunately. And for those listening that don't know, the Florida Panthers don't play in Miami. They play in Sunrise, Florida, which is over an hour drive outside of Miami. It's basically on the Everglades of Florida. But back when the BB&T Center was built, the lease for the arena was that there was supposed to be an NHL hockey team in the arena until 2023, I believe, somewhere around there, I think. So unfortunately, we can't really move the team unless we pay Broward County a substantial amount of money to get them out of there. But we'd have to pay the remainder of the years off, and the team isn't in a financial situation where they're able to do that. So they're pretty much stuck, which is unfortunate because obviously if they were to be playing in Miami, it'd be easier for people to come, easier for fans to get there, more like you have better promotion opportunities, advertising stuff,
Yeah,
easier to get the name out. Yeah, and that's a big city, Miami.
Yeah.
You can draw some pretty big crowds from there. When we played in the old Miami arena, we were obviously doing a lot better attendance wise. Although the arena was smaller, we would still fill more seats than we do now. But
I mean, you
it's
guys
just
probably had a better team all around back then, didn't you?
yeah, we still weren't the greatest team back then, but in our first few seasons, we were the most successful expansion team to come into the NHL.
Yeah.
So obviously that helped.
Within first 3 seasons, you guys went to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, so that definitely helped draw fans. This hockey team in South Florida is actually doing good, and then things taper off, and then you think, oh, a hockey team in South Florida, oh, they suck. Who knew?
Yeah.
But yeah, so the location of the team is what it is, and obviously something. The only thing really that's going to change attendance is winning. But
That's
hopefully it happens.
it's probably gonna turn around with being able to spend probably from the cap. Hopefully now, it'll
Yeah,
probably help your team a lot. Because I know there are some players out there that have actually said they would come to South Florida. Vinny LeCavalier says he would waive his no trade clause to come to South Florida.
yeah, and that's a big thing. Like when someone like Vincent Lecavalier wants to come to South Florida or to Florida and not play for Tampa Bay, like he wants to play for us, not Tampa Bay, Florida. So that's a big thing. When you have stars of that caliber saying they want to play for us, it definitely helps us.
Yeah, and I think he would definitely help you guys out a lot. I think. I mean, he
Yeah.
may be 33, 34, but he scored 20 goals for us this year. He just wasn't what we needed him to be. So.
Yeah, but obviously a change of scenery, whatever. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just lots of factors into that. But I would like to see him. But I mean, I think that's another topic for later on. But
I think you guys should give us your first overall for him.
That does provide us a segue into our off season.
Yeah, we've been on the off season. But yes.
Oh, now Blake's unmuted.
Yes, that brings us to our segue to the off season. What would you describe as the needs for the team? What would you feel the team will do as compared to what you would like to see the team do?
Hold on, give me 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Can you repeat that? Sorry, I had some issues.
Yes, regarding off-season moves, just what you would like to see the team do, and if it will compare to what you will feel the team will do.
Well, obviously, I'd like to see the. Oh my god. I'd like to see the team make some moves defensively. We definitely need to bring in some defenders because Jovanovski is not doing the job, and our young guys are too young, I think, to be effective on our team right now. There's just a lot of things that need to happen this offseason.
Yeah. I mean, you guys already did kind of make some moves before the offseason started that will help you out in the long run, like with Luongo coming to the team. And do you think he's going to help your? I mean, you already said he's going to help bring viewers probably to the stands because he's a big name player. But how else do you think he's going to help your team?
Well, obviously he's going to help in goaltending. Like our goaltending has not been good since 2011, 2010, you could say. It's never been really substantial. Like we had Craig Anderson and Thomas Vokoun at one point, but even then, that it wasn't the greatest goaltending. You'd think Craig Anderson and Thomas Vokoun could get you to the playoffs, but they can only do so much. So he's definitely going to help out for sure. Goaltending. He's going to play a substantial amount of games. We're not going to have to worry about calling up names from San Antonio, having Jacob Markstrom let in 6 goals a game. But we do need a backup goalie because Dan Ellis has proven less than what we wanted after we traded him. But
I thought people in Dallas said they loved Ellis.
yeah, I know Dallas fans really liked him, but I'm not really sure if Dale Talon wants to keep him or get rid of him, but he could stick around. But I mean, what he did show from our team, like from the play that he got to the Panthers, it wasn't very good at all.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he is used to having a slightly better team with the Dallas Stars, I guess, in front of him.
Yeah.
But they're still not, the best defensively either over there in Dallas. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't the best showing of Dan Ellis. Like I've seen him play in Dallas, obviously, so I've watched him play, and he did great for them, but somehow he came here and just didn't really flourish like he should.
Yeah, so. And I guess what the next question is, do you guys think you're going to keep your first overall pick?
Yes,
The Florida has done some weird things with the first overall before.
we have definitely. I definitely think we're keeping the pick. We need Ekblad. We definitely need him. I don't think there's really any question that we're going to keep it. Obviously, like, well, in my mind at least, I know lots of people think we're going to trade down and then pick up someone in like the 6 to 8 range, or trade for a package. I don't know. I think that with the rebuild the way it's going, we need a defenseman like Aaron Ekblad, someone that can work the point, someone that,
Basically build around.
yeah, and he's definitely not built around per se, but because we already have pieces that we are building around, but he's definitely someone that will fit into that, what we need. And obviously, as he matures, he's going to get better, so he's definitely going to fit in with the core nicely, and he has a really big shot from the point, which is also helpful because we don't really have that. You know, the last guy that could really shoot the puck was Jason Garrison for our team, and he's in Vancouver now, so we need someone like him.
Yeah. So I guess the big thing with it, who do you think you're going to sign and draft this year? Well, we already know Ekblad is going to be who you draft, but who do you think you're going to try to sign this year?
Um, you know, Dale Talon, after last year, he threw me off quite a bit with who he uh, signed, which was like no one. Um, but this year, you know, he has money, so he really could sign anyone. But someone that I think he should be going after, in my personal opinion, is Radim Verbata from Phoenix, because I don't know if they're going to sign him or not. But if he is not signed, or if his contract isn't renewed by Phoenix, then we need to get him, because Radim Verbata is a substantial player. Like, he's not really that well known of a player, but he's always been consistent, and he's always been able to help his team. Last season, 51 points. 28 points the season before in 34 games, 62 points, 48. He's always he's a pretty consistent player for sure. And for a more defensive team in Phoenix, it doesn't really have big name scorers. He's someone that you can definitely rely on when you need it. Something though, he's not really the best playoff performer throughout his career. So, not that we're going to the playoffs next year, but if that were the case, yeah. So that's really the only one that I really like hope happens. Obviously, like someone like Camilleri or a Gabrick, but I don't really think that
Gabrick's not leaving the Kings.
Yeah.
He's going to be signed by the Kings. They don't re-sign him, they're idiots.
Yeah, no, they definitely need to keep him. I don't really. I think that we need a defenseman, but who that defenseman is, I'm not really sure. Dan Boyle is obviously on like the market, but
he's 38 years old. How much
yeah,
will he truly be?
Exactly. So it's really weird right now. It really also depends like if we keep the pick or not. Because if we keep the pick and draft Ekblad, then obviously we're going to want a solid defenseman for now to play along like Brian Campbell. Or if we trade the pick, we need to get a defenseman back.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He's the only one I really had on my radar this season.
Okay.
It's not the strongest free agency this year.
Definitely not now. Definitely not a very strong free agency pool. Though there never usually are, because the strong players that make free agency are always signed. So
yeah.
They don't usually allow them go to.
Yeah, I know.
But who knows? So this brings us into the upcoming season. Do you guys think you will still be at the bottom of the standings?
You know, it's it's really hard to say. I don't think we'll be playoff contenders at all, but depending on how the offseason works out, if we can add a couple pieces, I think that we'll be out of the bottom 5 for sure. I don't see us being dead last. I don't see us being second last. I see us working towards the playoffs, but not like getting close. you know.
Yeah. Okay. So
But
I get. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but like, uh, obviously, it's hard to do worse than we've been doing. So you always obviously hope for an improvement of some sort, but
Hmm.
I don't know if that's gonna be too much of an improvement or not.
I mean, it's not like you guys were the bottom of the standings this year. You were second to last, I believe. So
Yeah,
it could be worse.
it could be. We could be Buffalo. Sorry.
And there's Cassie crying.
Sorry.
Yes, that
Sorry.
And
that does provide us with the perfect segue, though.
no, we still have a few other questions. Do you guys think Connor McDavid would be yours?
No,
No?
do not.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get. Now it's really hard to get two first rounds in a row.
Yeah.
First overalls in a row. It's basically the Edmonton Oilers rule now.
Yeah. I really don't see it happening. As much as I would obviously love Connor McDavid, don't think we're gonna suck enough next year to get him.
And of all the players you have now, who do you think is going to be the leading scorer?
I think Bugstad will eventually become our leading scorer. Um,
Not
Huberdeau,
Huberdeau?
Huberdeau will be an incredible player. I think he'll be second leading scorer, but I think that Bugstad is gonna just turn heads and
Mm,
become this natural goal scorer, assist man that we need on our team. That every team wants. I think he's gonna be the one eventually.
okay. So, and who do you, outside of leading scorer, who do you think is going to be the standout player this year? Going
I think
ahead.
I think Luongo is. I think he's gonna come in this season and he's gonna play an unreal season. He's gonna have an unreal season. He's out of his situation in Vancouver,
Mhm,
and he's into a new setting, a familiar one, but a new one.
mhm.
And I think he's gonna be on his game. I think he's gonna be focused and ready to play, and I think he's gonna do great.
Okay. And who do you think is going to be the player you guys throw under the bus when everything goes to hell?
I think this year it's going to be Kulikov and Goodbranson. As much
Okay.
as I absolutely love Eric Goodbranson and he's one of my favorite players, I think if this season he doesn't step up and become the player that we wanted him to be, I think he's going to be under scrutiny. And I
Mhm,
think that Kulikov is already under scrutiny as is. So this season's just going to be, a determining factor,
mhm.
even more so.
Okay. So, hopefully that's everything I have for you. Blake, did you have anything else?
No, I am unable to think of any other questions.
I think I basically covered everything. So,
Alrighty.
All right. Well, guys,
And
thank you very much for having me on the show, but I actually have to leave right now. So, as much as
okay.
I'd like to stay around, it's my mom's birthday dinner, so I
Okay.
gotta run. But yeah, thank you guys very much for having me on
Well,
today.
thanks for joining us, Carter.
Ain't no problem anytime.
Talk to you later then.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
that was our discussion about the Florida Panthers with Carter, also known as Oh No It's Rainbow on Reddit, and Oh No It's Rainbow and Carter Raimondi on Twitter. And now, on to our next team, the Buffalo Sabres, and with us again to discuss the Sabres. And we're going to begin, Cassie, with your thoughts on the season in review, which I'm sure will be very colorful.
My liver was not prepared. I knew it was going to be bad, but I was not prepared.
You can't be prepared for that bad of a season.
No.
Well, I mean, I'm sure we could spend maybe a whole show discussing what went wrong for the Sabres going into specifics, but
Yeah.
surely there's got to be something good, something in there that's good with the Sabres. That would be something to look forward to next season.
We actually have a couple good things. We had a couple good moments this past season. We had the butt goal, which was our Christmas present, and and we also had we had to see John Scott score a goal on our rivals, so that was fantastic as
You guys
well.
have a rival?
Yes, we do. The Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, who can be the worst?
Nah, we just consistently beat them, even when we're bad. The other thing is we
Oh, that
do
buckle with the Mike Smith buckle. Okay, that's what you mean.
the butt goal.
I
The
didn't
other
know what
thing,
was meant by the buckle, so now I see
yes.
it. There we go.
The other upside, thanks to injuries, we got to see our goalie depth in action, and we have very good goalies. We have a lot of them too.
And moving into discussion on trade deadline moves. Obviously, the big one, you sent Ryan Miller and Steve Ott to St. Louis for Yarrow Halak and Chris Stewart and a prospect. I know I could provide you insight on what that trade was like for St. Louis, but we are talking about Buffalo, and it looked like a really weird situation to me from an outsider's perspective, because it looked like to me, once you got rid of Miller, then goalies just let loose. Whole lot of young goalies all over the place. Was that kind of how you felt? Did that make you feel kind of? Did it feel kind of unnerving, or?
Well, the goalie situation wasn't like that. What had happened was Mikkel Neuwirth, who we got after we traded Halak to Washington, randomly got injured, comes out at the end of the season that it was his hip. He wasn't injured in a game. So they had called up Nathan Lewin from Rochester. In the game that Nathan Lewin was first called up, Jamie McBain pushed somebody into Enroth and injured Enroth. So then they had to call up Hackett. Then Lewin got injured with a concussion. Hackett got wheeled off with a knee injury, which puts him out for 6 months at this point. So it was just injuries, and but at the end of the season, we had something like 13 people on our injured list. So it wasn't just the goalies getting nailed.
And you guys use something like 9 goalies this year?
Yes, 9 goalies.
Jeez.
It kind of made me wonder, though, if trading away Miller at that particular time was the right thing to do. Then again, would you say that was the right time, or would you rather have had the all the young goalies have just a bit more time to grow?
Well, those young goalies are all going to go back to the minors this coming season. The Miller trade worked out for us because we do get a first-round pick for next year. So that's one more ticket in the McDavid lottery for us.
Mm-hmm.
And that means we actually have 3. But I think Miller was not going to re-sign with us, no matter how much money they threw at him. So it was easier to unload him and get something in return. So I think it was good.
Mm-hmm. Now, one player who was involved in this trade that hadn't been receiving a whole lot of talk, us in the St. Louis camp have kind of been discussing Steve Ott more and the positives and the negatives or whatever, but one player in the whole entire trade that I'm curious to know of how he worked out for their respective team would be Chris Stewart, and if he's a keeper or if he's going to be going somewhere else. What's your thoughts on Stewart?
About 2 games after we got him, he got injured. We think he's going to stay. At the trade deadline, Ottawa had expressed some interest in him, was what the rumors were saying. But he worked very well with Foligno, so I could definitely see us keeping him this entire season, possibly keeping him going forward. But I don't know what our GM has planned for him. He might become trade bait at the end of the season. But he was good with us for the 2 games we got to see.
And that's kind of our that brings us into the off season, and I suppose we'll go by the run sheet here and kind of pick off some topics regarding the Sabres off season one by one. How do you feel about Ville Lano being gone?
Good fucking riddance.
Why didn't you like Leno? He was awesome for us.
Okay, John Scott scored more goals than Leno this year. Let's just start out. He didn't give any effort when he was out there. He just skated around lazily and just didn't care. When he did get possession, he would just kind of try and pass it, half-ass it, and create a turnover. And it was just an endless cycle of bullshit. And keeping him would have, even though our cap floor situation is tricky, keeping him would have set a bad example for the young guys we have coming in, letting them know you can half-ass everything and still get paid.
And didn't you like how he would hold the puck forever also?
Yes, and then cause turnover. Yeah, that was great.
He never turned it over for us. It would always go to Briere or Hartnell, and then it would go into the net.
Yeah, we didn't have that. He didn't do that.
Yeah, as soon as we saw him leave, we were like, yeah, we're not signing him. As soon as he was ready to leave, he was no way going to be re-signed with us.
Mm-hmm. And I know the rest of the questions here. Who do you think is going to be signed as a free agent on your team? Who will you trade for? Who are you going to buy out? How do you feel about the coach? We can all just jumble all of those into one simple, easy-to-follow question. Same one I asked Carter. What do you feel are the needs for Buffalo heading into the off season? What would you like to see the team do, and how would that compare to what you feel the team will do?
All right. As for the Sabres' needs, I'm going to quote what our GM said earlier today. I don't know if I want to sit here this long. He was asked the same question, but we need, yes, except goaltending. For free agents, the rumor is that Ryan Callahan will most likely come to us. I have a few reservations about that, but I could see him being a good fit. We're probably going to draft Reinhardt, is what all the signs are pointing to. If Ekblad falls to second, we'll be getting him instead. But that depends on Florida screwing up or not. As far as trading goes, Murray said he was in contacts with other teams about trades. He's trying to get another first-round pick for this year. The plan is to trade for other teams' terrible contracts, to either have them play for us to keep us above the cap floor, or to buy them out in exchange for picks and prospects. They're hoping for some prospects that are 2 or 3 years into development already to speed things up. So, I mean, we're not going to be doing anything else except for that, and signing Tyler Ennis and Marcus Foligno to contracts because they are RFAs.
Okay. Looking ahead into the next season, then. I know it's very hard to tell, very hard to know where your team will be at, but
Not really.
well, do you feel it'll be another year of being at, or at least, well, yeah, at the bottom of the standings, or do you feel maybe just an ever so slight trend upward?
I think we're going to be at the bottom again. We actually better be there. But we're not going to make major changes to the roster that's going to make us immediately become better. One possible free agent signing is not going to change the team at all. It's just how that is. We're going to be at the bottom.
Let's try this. And give us a timetable. Like less than 5 years, less than 10 years, something like that, of when you think you'll start to see maybe some slight improvement.
Maybe 2 years. So season after this, maybe the following. So 2 to 3 years is when we're going to start seeing improvement. But not next year. The franchise needs to suck for a little bit for us to get these picks, because we've spent too much time racing for the playoffs and then either barely getting in or barely missing. And that means we end up drafting in the middle, and it's just an endless cycle. And Toronto's going through the same cycle. But for us now, we are completely done. So this is where we're going to get all of our talent and move up. So we have to suck.
Alrighty. Connor McDavid, do you see him going to Buffalo, or do you see him going elsewhere?
Really depends on the lottery. If we don't get Connor McDavid, Jack Eichel is a very, very good consolation prize. So one or two, it's going to be either or. We'll get somebody good next year.
All right. Who do you think will be the team's leading goal scorer or points getter? I guess either or.
It's either going to be Tyler Ennis or Cody Hodgson, possibly Stafford, because he does really well in a contract year, and it is a contract year. I don't think anybody else is going to be able to step up like that. Girgensons might come in the middle, but nah, it's either one of those two.
All right. Overall, offense, defense, goaltending. Who do you see to be the standout player, the number one player on the team?
Whichever goaltender wins the starting position. I think Tim Murray has come out and said that neither goaltender has been named number one. That is going into the season, Enroth and Neuwirth have to fight it out to show who's going to be number one, and I think whoever does that is going to have a standout season.
Are you able to say right now who you think would have an advantage?
I do, and this is not only just because he's my favorite player, but there had been rumors saying that if Neuwirth said that if he's not declared number one outright, he's not going to try, where Enroth has come out and said that this is his chance.
Oh, boy.
So he's going to try?
Oh, yeah.
Never a good thing to hear from a defender.
No.
So it's like, this is my chance to be number one. Well,
you fight for your number one position. You're not just handed it unless you have...
Yeah. So I think Enroth's going to take it if Neuwirth's not going to try.
Mm-hmm. And the final question, if things go wrong, again, probably may not have to be an if, I suppose. Who do you feel will be the public enemy number one on the team?
Tank Commander Mike Weber.
Hmm.
Him, and if we keep Jamie McBain, but signs are pointing to us not keeping him. Mike Weber has this past season did some very interesting things. He pinned down Jonas Enroth for a good minute and a half. A goal got scored. He's bad. He's so bad. So yeah, he's going to be our person that we pin everything on. We already do.
Tell us how you really feel about him, Cassie.
There's pictures of him photoshopped into a tank.
Oh.
He is the tank commander.
Alrighty. Well, actually, I believe that's the end of the run sheet there.
Mm-hmm.
So we are at the end of this broadcast. I want to thank Carter for joining us. You can find him. His Reddit user is OnoTsRambo, and his Twitter accounts, he has two. Carter Raimondi, and oh no, it's Rambo. And I also want to thank Cassie for joining us, the host of the Puck and Awesome podcast. You can hear that show at Monday nights. What'd you say, Dave? 9:30 Eastern.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
That's right. And
okay, and you can find her at Abstract Halo both on Reddit and Twitter. Dave, I guess take a quick glance at the draft order and kind of preview who's coming up on the next show.
1 second. It's gonna take me a couple seconds. Loading. The next is going to be the Oilers and the Flames next week.
Alrighty.
And we do not have a person right now to join us.
Aren't they rivals?
Yes, the
So
Battle of Alberta on the Wooden Ball podcast next week,
this
folks.
is going to be fun.
Yes. And for the Wooden Ball show, joining me is Dave Ball. You can find him at Blinson on Reddit and at Blinson1 on Twitter. And I am Blake, his trusty companion, trusty yuck monkey, whatever you want to call me. Partner in crime. You can find me, my username would be btownbomb on Reddit, and you can find me on Twitter at ShattonMyKirk. And for Our HockeyCast, you can find Our HockeyCast on Reddit. That is Our HockeyCast. You can find us on Twitter at Our HockeyCast. You can find us on our website, www.ourhockeycast.com. You can listen to previous episodes from all our podcasts, and you can find our YouTube channel, Our HockeyCast. And this has been the Wooden Ball Show, and we are signing off.
Have a good night, everybody.
Night.